Hey everybody, this is me and this is my grandson, Nate, alias aka Chauncey. Say hi, Chauncey.
Hi.
We look good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What are you supposed to say?
Um. I don't it's on a net.
You're supposed to say good job, Grandpa.
Good job, Grandpa.
All right, okay. So he's gonna help me with this video for as long as his attention span lasts. And the video today, it's about relationships, but it was basically on how when you have a broken self-esteem, it is very dangerous when we're receiving attention, affirmation, and affection. And the problem is that when your self-esteem is damaged, you can't get enough of. Say it again.
I said something like good job, Grandpa.
That's right. Say good job, Grandpa. You can't get enough of that. You can't get enough of someone telling you good job. Okay. All right. I'm done, buddy. Go out and play.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
So, and I want to tell you guys a story about my past relationships, and just to kind of give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. When I first met my first wife, I was in such a crazy state. I had lost my really great full-time job because I was running my mouth. I was immature. I was arrogant. And I didn't listen to people. And I just lost that job. My dad had just laid me off from the group home, and I was making good money there. And I was living, before I got laid off and fired, I was living from paycheck to paycheck. So I was on the edge of financial just obliteration. And I had a nice house, a 3-bedroom, 2.5 car garage. And bills just kept coming in and they just kept coming in. And I just kept putting them in the trash, because I just didn't know how to handle it, and my self-esteem, which was already not very good because I was, I told you guys I grew up as the fat kid. So my self-esteem was already not good. And I had compensated with just having stuff and just buying things, and I always had the nicest clothes, and I always did stuff with my car, and just all kinds of things that I did to really kind of compensate, for how crappy I felt about myself inside. So when you have that kind of going on mentally and emotionally on the inside, you can't get enough compliments, You can't get enough affirmation. You just can't get enough affection. And that just kind of drove me to always do more, to always be funny, to always get people to like me, to get, I was the professional people pleaser. And it's kind of like, when Nate says good job, Grandpa, and it's funny, but you know you can tell the depth of your self-esteem by how much someone giving you a compliment resonates with you. you know um I remember I had brought somebody a cup of coffee on one of my jobs. That was a long time ago, and they were so just grateful for that cup of coffee. They were just like, "Oh, thank you so much," and I was just like, "Man, it's just a cup of coffee." But the problem is that there was such a deficit um, as far as self-worth that anyone giving the slightest attention really just was huge. It was huge. I remember Eddie Murphy was telling one of his comedy skits, and he was talking about love and comparisons to what's quality and what's just available. And he said, sometimes it's like that man who is on a desert island, and he doesn't know what good food is, and somebody gives him a Ritz cracker and he's like, that is the best food I've ever had. It's a Ritz cracker, but in comparison to what we really want in life, do we just want a Ritz cracker? And that's just because that man was starving. So a lot of us, our own self-worth is so unhealthy, so unfulfilled, so empty that we're starving, you know. And so we look for affirmation from our bosses, from our spouses, from our kids, from our animals, from our pets, you know. And pets are usually the last stand, because, you know, animals will love you so long as you got bacon in your pocket. You know, and that's the truth. You know, they're gonna love you so long as you're feeding them, changing their kitty litter, taking them for a walk, cleaning up their poo, whatever. They're gonna love you. You know, but you know, as human beings, we're meant for interaction, and the interaction has to be healthy. It has to be balanced, and we can only do that if we have something on the inside. You know. So, you know, I was listening, you know, to several speakers on self-esteem and self-worth, you know. And I remember one I think it was TD Jakes. He was talking about, you know, children, and he was relating it to our self-esteem. And you know how you grab a little baby and you toss her up in the air, you know. And I was doing it with Nalia earlier, and you'll see her one of these days. She's they're all adorably cute. So I'm carrying her in the air, and she's spinning, and she's smiling and giggling, and, you know, and cries as soon as I put her down. You know, because, you know, and I'm just like, look, I gotta finish working. I gotta do homework, kid. You're gonna have to be all right. You know, but she's a kid. She's a baby. So she doesn't know anything about self worth, self discipline, or anything. All she knows is what she wants. And that's so much like the person with the broken self esteem. It's like a little 2 year old inside of us that can't get enough candy, you know, not realizing that the candy, you know, after so many pieces of candy, it's bad for us, you know. And it's the same thing when we're living for affirmation of others, and we're not affirming ourselves. So if I'm in a constant state of people pleasing, doing things for others constantly because I want them to like me, you know, I can't ever do enough. I just can't. And they never learn to like me for who I am. They learn to like me because of my service, because of my work. So in a sense, I'm never really showing them my true self. All I'm showing them is my works. All I'm showing them is what I can do. I can clean house. I can cook. I can fluff your pillow. You don't really know me. You just know the things that I do and give. You know, and that's the trap. That's the trap. So when that person does give you a compliment and says, "Good job, Grandpa," it starts this vicious cycle of, "Oh, I got to get that again. Okay, what can I do again to get that good job?" Okay, instead, and mind you, look, we're all human. We like compliments. Period. I love compliments. I love attention, but I can't go crazy with that, because I have to I have to get to a point where I love myself enough, regardless of who gives me a compliment, who tells me good job. You know, I have to say, "Will, that was a good job. Will, you are a good man." You know, you have to tell yourself that you're a good woman and you're a good man. You know, and when you can do that, when your self esteem is in a solid, strong kind of position, you're no longer going to be enticed, manipulated, or conned into relationships that aren't quality. You know, you're not gonna lose your mind with the next woman that walks by and does something for you, or the next man that says you're pretty. My ex-wife isn't a terrible person at all, but I was in an extremely vulnerable state mentally and emotionally. Um, and I can say that safely because I didn't have my first wife really engage with any of my friends, because I didn't think she would pass the test with them, because I was so desperate for companionship. I just wanted her to be with me, you know. So my original church in Ohio had a was it 2 years? No, it was a 12-month premarital course, because they said, once you go through this course, you know, we're not marrying you again. We're not going to do this again. And so they were thorough. And I love that church. I'd been a member of that church forever. And I did not take my first wife through that course because I was afraid they would tell me that it's not going to work. We're not compatible or something. And that's how desperate I was, you know. So I had bypassed all of my own wisdom, all of the advice from my friends, all of the things that I knew better, because my self-esteem was so shattered and so broken. You know, I was looking for someone else. You know, and this is for men. You know, men, stop looking for your woman to be your mama. Stop looking for her to patch up your wounds, to fix your bruises, to kiss your boo-boo. Okay? You're looking for her to be your wife, your helpmate, you know, not your mom. Okay? You don't need her to clean up your messes. And and I remember that was one of the things that really made me fall in love with my first wife, is that she took care of me when I was sick and I was broken. And it was just a sad state of where I was. I was nowhere near the confident person I am today. You know. And like I said, she wasn't a terrible person. I just was in a very sad and brittle and broken place. And that is such a bad place to make a romantic connection. You know, because you're it's like you're putting together pieces that are already broken to make a greater broken machine, you know. So those are kind of my thoughts on relationships and just being aware of who you are. You have to be comfortable and confident in who you are. You have to believe in yourself before anybody else can believe in you. And that's pretty much all I got to say today. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Hit me up. Let me know if this is good. And love you guys.